Hey Internet, Eric here. You Hate It I Don't returns. You Hate It I Don't, if you're new to my channel, is where I feel like I'm in the minority of a film, enjoying a film, and be it, critics, be it fan response, what have you, and I feel like I'm one of the few people that really enjoy it. And since 2016 is basically the year of the superhero because we have a superhero movie coming out almost every other fucking month. A lot of my reviews, be it positive or negative or You Hate It I Don't, have been superhero related. And, Ben Affleck will be playing Batman in Batman v Superman next month. And this isn't the first time that he has been a superhero. So this You Hate It I Don't is about the first time that he was a superhero. We have Daredevil. Daredevil came out in 2003. And it also stars Jennifer Garner and Colin Farrell, Clarke Duncan. Those are the main characters. Of course, the obligatory Stan Lee cameo. Jon Favreau's in it. Yeah. Saw this in the theaters with my wife, and we recently rewatched this last night to see if it still holds up. And I still have fun with this movie. I don't really understand how much hatred, or I don't understand why this movie got so much shit. I really don't. It has its flaws, which I will go into, but in the end, I think there's more positivity than negativity. If you're new to my channel, again, there will be minor plot spoilers, but again, comic book movie, not a lot, of unpredictability, at least from a Daredevil film. I was not a big Daredevil fan growing up. Not that I hated him, but I didn't really read him. I was more Spider-Man and Batman, and a little bit of X-Men. But what I did learn of Daredevil was, when he teamed up with Spider-Man. Okay, if you don't know who Daredevil is, Ben Affleck plays Matt Murdock. And Matt Murdock is a blind attorney in Hell's Kitchen. His partner is Foggy Nelson, who is wonderfully played by Jon Favreau, who is the perfect mix of comic relief and seriousness. He's really good at, you can tell that him and Matt Murdock are best friends. And hopefully that noise you can hear is my daughter running up down the stairs, so hopefully you can still hear me. But Foggy Nelson, Jon Favreau, great at being the buddy, but great at being, the guy that gives his buddy shit. And Matt Murdock, like I said, he was a blind attorney in Hell's Kitchen, New York. And we see in his past that he was blinded by some toxic waste, at least in this film. Because his father, Battling Jack Murdock, was a prize fighter. And he's fantastically played by David Keith. David Keith is a character actor, pops up every now and then. Off the top of my head, Major League 2 and The Indian in the Cupboard. Wonderful, wonderful guy. And he plays Battling Jack Murdock really well. And he's a single father, trying to make ends meet at, the loading docks type of thing. He's, a prize fighter, not very successful, but unknowns to Matt, he's also a collector for the mob. You don't pay them, he's the one that roughs you up type of guy. And Matt finds out about this, runs away, some toxic waste gets thrown into his face, and he's blinded. But as his sight is taken away, his other senses are cranked up to like 2,000. So, his sense of touch, his sense of smell, his sense of hearing is cranked up so well, he develops somewhat of like a sonar sense, kind of like what bats do, when they fly in the darkness. So he can still somewhat see through vibrations of what's happening. And eventually, his father is killed, and when he finds his father's dead body, and when he goes to his father, and his father is dying, he realizes that this is what just makes him decide that he's going to stop crime, be it in the courtroom as being a lawyer, or eventually as being a masked vigilante as Daredevil. And yes, there's some Batman ideas, I don't know if it's rip-offs because I don't know who came out first, type of thing. But yes, it's basically parent killed in front of the kid becomes masked vigilante. What the fuck ever. Eventually, Matt meets up with Elektra Nachios, played by Jennifer Garner. And every fucking time, and even Jon Favreau says this, he says a line in the movie. I always call her Electric Nachos. And even, like I said, even Jon Favreau, he says she sounds like a Mexican appetizer. She meets up with Matt Murdock, and friendship and a romance is born. Her father is killed because he wants to leave Wilson Fisk. Wilson Fisk is known as the Kingpin of crime, played by Clarke Duncan. And the Kingpin obviously doesn't like it when people want to leave. He puts the hit out on him, thanks to and he hires Bullseye to kill him. Bullseye is fantastically played by Colin Farrell. And he's called Bullseye because he never misses a target. Eventually, Bullseye is successful, kills Elektra's father. But Daredevil is blamed for it. So Elektra wants to get revenge against Daredevil. Daredevil wants to stop Kingpin and Bullseye. Big clash. The end. Now, again, I don't understand why there's so much hate towards this movie. Affleck himself does fairly decent. He's very likable when he's Matt Murdock. Very intimidating when he's Daredevil. The fight scenes, the choreography here is, I think, pretty damn good. There's a scene where he's... Matt Murdock is the prosecuting attorney for a woman who was raped by Paul Ben Victor, the character actor. Anytime you want a fucking mobster, you get Paul Ben Victor. And Paul Ben Victor gets off scot-free. Matt Murdock becomes Daredevil, and he's tracking him down. He tracks him into a bar. And, of course, Paul's there with all of his buddies. And then, they're shooting at Daredevil. Daredevil knocks out all the lights. It's a really, really good fight scene. And, it's probably the longest fight scene in the movie. But it's done so well. It's so tight, so crisp, so pretty brutal. Jennifer Garner as Elektra. I mean, she's not just there to be a pretty face and to be sexy, because her performance is decent. Not, knocked out of the park, but she has a very good chemistry with Affleck. I like it how you can tell she can take care of herself. She's not, the damsel in distress that you always see in these comic book movies. Daredevil never has to rescue her, which is cool. She can take care of her own. She can beat the shit out of her own, anybody. So well done. Clarke Duncan as Kingpin. He's nothing special. He's just there to be intimidating. But Colin fucking Farrell as Bullseye. The scenery this man fucking chews up in this film is an enormous amount. And Colin Farrell is the main reason why you should watch Daredevil. You can tell Farrell's having fun with this role. It's cool that he can use his own Irish accent, which you don't really see. And I didn't realize how thick his accent was. He's one of these. He's another villain that has so much charisma that even though he's gonna fucking lose, you can't take your eyes off of him when he's on screen. One of my favorite scenes in this movie is, well, first off, when we were first introduced to him, he's in an Irish pub listening to House of Pain, making bets on throwing darts. Fantastic way. And then, of course, he's accused of cheating, and he gets out of it in a very funny way, which I won't spoil. But this scene here, one of my favorite scenes with him, isn't a spoiler because it has nothing to do with the plot, is he's hired by Kingpin. So he's got to fly from his home to Hell's Kitchen, New York. And he's sitting in an airplane, and he's being annoyed by this old bitch next to him, just telling her life stories. And he's sitting there with his headphones in, just trying to ignore her. And he doesn't know how to shut her the fuck up. So he opens up the airline bag of peanuts, and he puts a peanut down on his little tray, and he literally flicks it, pops in the air, bounces off of the back of the chair of the woman, whoever's sitting in front of the old woman. Peanut lodges into her throat. She chokes to death, and he's just at peace now. God, like I said, Colin Farrell as Bullseye. This is perfect fucking casting here. There's a side plot involving Ben Urich. Now, Ben Urich is a reporter for, I think, the New York Times. And he's wonderfully played by Joe Pantoliano. And Joe Pantoliano was on my channel earlier in the movie Goonies, which I reviewed. Please check that view out. Plays Ben Urich, and he is there to try to figure out who Daredevil really is, because he knows of this mass vigilante. And he's a very likable character here. Just fantastic performance. Joey Pants is always good in every fucking thing I see him in. There are some qualms I have about this film. In 2003, everyone was obsessed because of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. When it comes to fight scenes, over the top, like jumping. And that does take me out of a lot of these fight scenes, where there's a wonderful fight scene between Bullseye and Elektra, because Daredevil has been injured by Elektra. And it's really good hand to hand, and Daredevil's throwing his weapons at her, and she's throwing her size at him. But what takes me out of it is these leaps from the rooftops, where they're just so fucking over the top and retarded and not real. I'm just like, this isn't Superman. You can't really jump like that, and it's so very noticeable. Like I said, it takes me out. There's a fantastic fight scene with Bullseye versus Daredevil inside the roof of a church, but again, the jumps are just so over the top, and the green screen and blue screen is very noticeable. And the fight scenes are actually kind of short, but they're very good for what they are. However, it's those fucking jumps. You can tell they're on wires. I mean, there's a fun fight scene when it's not really a fight scene, but an action scene where Matt Murdock first meets Elektra, and he wants to get to know her, and they kind of fool around in a playground where basically she's trying to get away, he's trying to follow her, and they go in like this little friendly martial arts fight. A lot of it is fun, a lot of it is good, but then they get the fucking scenes where you can tell that they're on wires and just stop. But overall, the action, what little there is, and what I mean by little there is a lot of action scenes, but it seems like the fight scenes are pretty short. What there is, for the most part, is very good, very fun. Very likable characters. It's a great, fun comic book movie. One of my favorite parts of this movie here is the opening credits. It goes from, you see silhouettes of the skyscrapers of New York, and you see the lights in the buildings. The lights form braille because Murdock's blind, and those form into the actors or actresses' name. Cool little touches like that. I never noticed it until last night, viewing this, that, since Matt Murdock was blinded by acid, every time you see Affleck with his shades off, you see little burn scars right around his eyes. So that's a good attention to detail. Since Murdock's sound, his sense of sound has been amplified so much, he has to sleep in like a hyperbaric chamber to drown it all out. That, I don't know if that was in the comic, but if it wasn't, that's a cool twist to throw in this movie. I mean, how would a person who can hear all that deal with it? So that's really cool. Overall, Daredevil is a fun action movie, fun superhero movie. We'll say that. Doesn't deserve all the hate it gets. You have overall good action scenes. Affleck is not decent. He's more than decent. Jennifer Garner, looking sexy, very intimidating. When I love the scene where she's getting ready to go after Daredevil, and of course it's to a fucking Evanescence song. But when she's training with her size and she's cutting down these sandbags and taking out the sandbags, it's really well done. The editing is crisp, and it's edited into the scene of Daredevil getting ready for his fight with her, or to go take out Bullseye. But yeah, Jennifer Garner really well performs as Elektra, and once again, like I said, Colin fucking Farrell. Seriously, even if you were just like, oh, even if you want to believe the hype that this movie is total shit, that's your prerogative. But what I'm saying is, give this movie a chance just for Colin Farrell. I mean, just his little attentions to detail in this film with this character. I mean, the Kingpin, his calling cards, after he kills somebody, he drops a rose. And I just love how when Kingpin hires Bullseye to do his job, Bullseye will literally take the rose, wipe it on his forehead, because he's got like a scar. Can you really see it here? Or a scar right there, or a tattoo, like a scarification tattoo of a bullseye right there. He'll literally take it, wipe it, and just throw it at the people. And it's like I said, I don't know if that was intentional or not, but Colin Farrell is the reason to watch Daredevil. So, yeah. If you don't plan on seeing Affleck in Batman v Superman next month, give him a shot at Daredevil. Illegally stream it, I don't care. Just give it a shot. Not worth all the hate it gets. So in closing, I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for the new views I've gotten. The new subscribers. If you actually are watching this stuff, thank you. I love the interaction between two people I get, but it's still fun. So if you have any comments, please comment below. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, yeah. Yeah. So in the end, cheers, and God, fucking Colin Farrell rules.